How do you keep your cool against narcissists? You know why it's so hard? You know why it's so hard? It is so hard because they want you to lose your cool. It is their mission. It is their life's purpose. You know how I just said it's my life's purpose to get your life back? It's their life purpose to have you lose your cool. Because you know why? They get narcissistic supply from it. It's their food. It's their lifeblood. It's their oxygen. It's what they feed off of. They need that supply. That's what they live for. They love it. They love it. Okay. They need that supply. And so when you lose your cool, they feed off of that. All right. So not only do they feed off of it, by the way, but when you lose your cool, they get that supply, but they also want to be able to use it against you, because they use your reaction in your emails and your texts and all those sorts of things as proof of, look how crazy they are. Look at that. Or they take pictures or they take videos or they show people, look at the crazy person, and they use it in court, or they use it in mediations, or they use it in a case, or they tell people, they show the neighbors, or they show the family, look at the crazy person. They only show that half of it. So there's so many reasons why you need to keep your cool against narcissists, not just for the other reason of, why give them the satisfaction? Why give them the supply that they want? Don't give it to them. And you know, the funny thing is that I knew this. I knew this even before I knew all this about narcissists. When I was dealing with narcissists in my own life, somehow I knew not to feed into it, but I just knew not to try to do this. But I didn't know why, but I knew. So I use the acronym COOL words, and I like it because it's easy to remember, and I want you to use it too. The first word is cool. Second word is words. So the letter C is the first letter for you to remember, and it's chill. Chill out, take a break. All right. So just chill out, take a break, go away from it. That means throw water in your face, walk away, take a break from the person, take a breath. That means I need to get away from this person. Get up, say, I need a break from this person. And that's the last thing they want you to do, by the way. They don't want you to take a break from them. That's when they come running after you. Don't let them do it. You know, just say, I need to take a break. I'll be back in a little bit. That's the first thing, C. Next one is O. Observe their behavior. Observe their behavior verbally to them, you know, without emotion, without judgment. I can see that you're upset. I can see that you're angry. What is it that's making you angry right now? Get them to verbalize it. Just take yourself out of it, like as if you're a third person just observing. You're not in it. You're just observing. So that's O, observing. So you're observing it to them as if without emotion, without judgment. All right. That's the first O. The second O is you're observing as if you are a bystander. So the first O is you are verbally observing it to them. I can see that you're upset. I can see that you are angry. The second O is you are observing as if you are a bystander. Okay. You don't feel like you need to get into it. You're just like dodgeball, like the ball is just going past you and it hit the wall. You don't need to say anything. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to take it personally. And, you know, Judge Lynn Toller talked about this in my video, which was really a great interview that I did with her. And you can definitely check that out. It's on this channel. And it was, you know, all about divorcing a narcissist in court. And you definitely want to check out that interview that we did. And then L is just let it go by you. You just let the words go by you. You're just letting them, you're just stepping aside. You're just letting the words go by you. So again, you're just observing, You're just observing the words, you're observing them behavior, you're observing them to them. You're just letting this all happen. Observing, letting it go by. You're a third person. You're taking yourself out of the situation. Okay? So that is the word cool. And then the last part of it is words. This is my favorite part of it. This is a secret I actually used to use myself. When I was a trial lawyer, I would actually write down certain words, or I would keep certain words in my head. These are power words that become your mantra. These are power words that help you remember how you're going to be powerful. So, what is your word of the day? Is it power? Is it strength? Is it leverage? Is it resilience? Is it confidence? What is your word of the day? What is the word that's going to keep you grounded for today? Is it control? In the book Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill talks about the power of auto-suggestion as a way of reprogramming your brain or your neuronal patterns. Joe Dispenza talks about it. A lot of people have talked about this power of reprogramming your brain. And you can actually do this. And so if you know that you are going to be triggered by this person, you're going to meet with them, maybe it's a mediation, or you're going to have this particular conversation, maybe there's an agenda and you're worried that you're going to be triggered by them, and you're really worried that you're going to keep your cool. Have this particular word. Maybe it's a symbol that you have on your paper. Maybe it's a star, or maybe just like a moon or something that's just means nothing to anybody else but you. But when you look at it, it's just going to remind you of that word that is going to say, you're going to say to yourself, power, strength, courage, resilience, confidence, whatever you need to be reminded. Oh, that's right. My badass self has shown up over here. That's who's sitting here. The elite version of myself is sitting over here. No one else. No weak ass version of myself. I left that person outside the door. That person isn't welcome here. That person is not sitting in the room. No one else but the powerful version of myself is sitting in this room right now, today. That no one else is invited to sit here in this room today. No one else but the whole complete version of myself is sitting in this room today, period. And you stay in that mindset no matter what, so that that you can get through it. And if you need to set a time limit when you're having that conversation with that person, then set a time limit so that I'm only going to be in here for an hour and that's it. And then I'm done. So remember, cool words when you show up, when those emotions get red hot, when you're having that conversation, so that, you can just look at that person. You're going to say, I'm not going to be triggered by this person. No matter what you say, I'm not giving you control. I'm not giving you control over me. I'm not giving you control over my emotions. I'm not allowing you to trigger me, because I know if you do, that you are going to have something that you can use against me. And remember that that's what narcissists want to be able to do. They want to be able to control you. They want to be able to trigger you. So I want you to write down in the comments right now, I keep my cool. I keep my cool. I know how to keep my cool, right? Because you will not give them that power. You're not giving them that satisfaction. You're not giving them that opportunity to take that from you. I mean, anytime you say, he makes me feel, or she makes me feel, you're giving them that power. Don't give them that power. Don't give them the opportunity to allow that. You have the power to be in control of your emotions. Okay, so number one, I'm going to give you 8 ways to become powerful and deadly against narcissists. So you're going to want to make sure that you stay all the way till the end 8 ways. And number 1, recognize the narcissist traits, recognize their behavior, know their triggers. And that way you will know how to provoke them. You're going to know how to become powerful against them. You're going to know exactly what they're going to be doing. And once you can see it coming. And that way you will understand how they're going to be behaving. That is one of the best ways that you can become deadly against narcissists. Number two is to be confident in your own self-worth and your own abilities. They absolutely hate that. That's actually one of the best ways to become deadly against narcissists, is being confident in your own self-worth and your own abilities. That's number 2. Number 3 is assert yourself when needed and make sure that they know that you are not somebody who will be walked over or used by others. That is so, so, so important. And let me tell you something that is going on with narcissists. You understand that there are 3 different phases, basically, to a narcissistic relationship. It's that love bombing, devaluing, and then discarding. And during that love bombing phase, and this is whether it's a personal relationship or a business relationship. And I actually, in my life, had to deal with a narcissist in a business relationship. And so even if you're dealing with them in a business relationship, it's still the same kind of a thing. Sometimes that love bombing phase is also called the idealization phase. And during that phase, they are actually conditioning you. They're setting you up. They're looking to see if you're going to be a good form of what they call narcissistic supply, or what is called narcissistic supply. They want to see if they're going to be able to kind of get away with their behavior. They're conditioning you. They're looking to see how you're going to respond when they start devaluing you, when they start ghosting you, when they start acting in a certain way, when those red flags start popping up and you start to kind of go, well, I don't want to rock the boat. I'm going to go along to get along. I don't know if I should say anything. A lot of times it's just so subtle. You're just not sure what's going on here. You, a lot of times, are an empathic person, or you're a good person. They look for people that are good people who are not quite sure. And a lot of times it's encased in a lot of great other things. So you're like, well, there's a lot of other good behavior that's kind of good. So you're not really sure. And so what happens is you've been conditioned. And so now you have to start asserting yourself. If you want to start to shift the dynamic, if you want to start to change how things are going to be, you have to start incrementally shifting so that you're now actually changing the power dynamic. And that's what you have to start doing. So number 3 is asserting yourself when needed. And now you're actually no longer allowing them to walk over you. And it's actually it's going to start to feel uncomfortable for you because you're not used to it. If you've been a victim of a narcissist, you get nervous about how they're going to react. And they will react, because narcissists, they'll start to have their tantrums, but you just have to kind of get through that phase. It's almost like having a 2-year-old, where you have to kind of get through that phase where they will react, and you just have to understand that that's what they're going to do. So that's number 3. And number 4 is sort of closely related. So number 4 is establishing boundaries with the narcissist, and including setting clear rules for what is going to be acceptable behavior, what's going to be tolerated, and avoid giving in to their demands, and being okay with understanding that, it may end up getting worse, and that's okay, because it will probably get worse before it gets better, but it will end up getting better. And understand that this is the only way to get a narcissist to respect you. And I do have a whole video on much more about that, and definitely check out my video. It's actually called "This is the Only Way to Make a Narcissist to Respect You." Definitely check that out. The next one is stay strong. Stay strong, especially if you are feeling low or vulnerable. Remind yourself that all the good qualities about yourself, just stay strong. The next one is know that you deserve better. Know that you deserve better than a relationship with a narcissist. And, right now, I want you to just put in the comments, stay strong, stay strong. All right. Number 7 is keep your distance. Keep your distance, because they will start to hoover you. They will start to come back. They're going to start to, try to test you to see if you're going to be weak. They're going to try to see if maybe there's some holes in your boundaries. They're going to see if maybe you are going to allow them to come back in some way, or that, maybe that there's some way that they can come back and get some more supply out of you. And so you really, really have to make sure that you're going to let them know that no, you are distancing yourself as much as possible. And number 8 is just remember who it is that you are dealing with. Remember, they are not going to change. Remember that you are not going to get closure from this situation. You are not going to be able to get them to understand your position. You are never going to be able to get them to acknowledge anything that you ever did. I mean, that was one of the hardest things for me. I had a business situation with a narcissist. I gave and gave and gave and gave, and I really thought that I would be able to have some sort of closure, and that I would be able to have some sort of at least cordial relationship going forward. And I really, really worked hard on trying to make sure that things would be as good as possible, even giving as much as I possibly could. And no matter what you do, no matter how much you try, they just aren't ever going to be able to do that. You're dealing with a person who is just inherently a broken person. And yes, you can have empathy for that person, but that doesn't mean that you can fix them. That doesn't mean that you're going to have closure. That doesn't mean that you can do anything for them other than namaste and walk away. Wish them well, walk away. You can heal yourself. You can thank them for the gift of showing you who they really are, and go and find yourself somebody who is whole and complete and deserves you and deserves your time. There are 4 things you really need to know if you're dealing with a narcissist. Okay, listen to me. First of all, I took them from Al-Anon. First 3 are what they call the 3 C's. And then there's going to be one more. So the 3 C's are that you didn't cause it, you can't control it, and you can't cure it. So let's take them one by one. You didn't cause this. You didn't cause their narcissism. They're going to try to blame it all on you. They brought you into their world. They made you feel like you were the one who was the most special person ever. Whether it's a business relationship or a personal relationship, or even if they're your parent or whatever, here you were brought into their world, and they make you feel like you're supposed to be, the most special person, but you didn't cause that. Something else caused them to feel inadequate in some way. Think about it. Something happened to them in their childhood that caused a disconnect within them. They're the ones that have this emptiness inside of them. It's like a black hole that can't be filled. And so they're walking around the world trying to fill this hole from external sources all the time. And you are just this collateral damage in a way, because you happen to be there. And so they're looking to you to try to fill this. You're just a food source, really, a supply source. And you're over there trying to fill it for them because they make you feel like you're supposed to be able to do that for them. But you didn't cause that. Something else caused that long before you came along. So you didn't cause that. And so you can't take that personally. How people feel, how people treat other people is always a direct reflection of the way they feel about themselves. It never has anything to do with you. So you can't take that personally. If people treat each other well, it's because they feel whole and complete, or they feel good about themselves inside. It has nothing to do with you. And, I always say that one of my favorite books is The Four Agreements. Highly recommend that book, The Four Agreements. And it's 4 agreements that you make with yourself. And one of the agreements is that you never take anything personally, because the way people treat other people is a direct reflection of the way they feel about themselves. So number 1 is you didn't cause it. So the next one is you can't control it. You can't control other people. You can only control yourself. You can control how you're going to react. You can certainly control how you are going to react to them. And you can control how you're going to take care of yourself. And I have a whole video on self-care when you're dealing with a narcissist. And I definitely watch that video, self-care, when you're coping with a narcissist. Definitely check out that video. In fact, I have a whole video series on self-care when you're coping with a narcissist. You can even check out the whole video series on that. Definitely check that out. Take care of yourself. And in fact, I want you to put that in the comments right now. I take care of myself. I take care of myself, because that's what I want you to start thinking of right now. You didn't cause it. You can't control it. Those are the first 2 C's. And the last one is you can't cure it. And then there's going to be one more. So make sure you keep watching till the end. You can't cure it. They can't cure themselves. I've done videos. I've actually interviewed many different therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists even, who said you can't cure narcissists. And in fact, I've actually even talked to mental health professionals who've said they won't even treat narcissists because they can't be cured. They don't even want anything to do with narcissists because they can't be cured. So you certainly aren't going to cure the narcissist. Don't sit around waiting for that. You're just going to hurt yourself. You're just going to cause yourself more pain, more trouble. So you can't cure them, all right? You didn't cause it. You can't control it. You're not going to cure them. What can you do? This is your 4th rule, your 4th thing to know about narcissists. And that is that you can slay. You can use my slay methodology. You can walk away. You can slay it. You can shift the dynamic. You can win at the negotiation. You absolutely can. Everyone else is telling you that you can't win against narcissists. I'm telling you that with the right strategies, with the right understanding of how narcissists think, that you absolutely can win every single time. You can. You absolutely can. Don't give up. Don't be fatalistic. Don't allow yourself to be a victim. Don't allow it. Make sure that you have done what you need to do your self-care, to join things like my free private Facebook group, Narcissist Negotiators with Rebecca Zung. Many people in there who are supporting each other. If you are negotiating with a narcissist, grab my free Crush My Negotiation Prep worksheet, totally free ebook, 15 pages. Go to crushmydeal.com. Get that. It's a totally free ebook that many thousands of people have won their entire negotiations on. So get that, crushmydeal.com. Subscribe to this channel, hit that notification bell. If you need additional support, go to betterhelp.com/Rebecca Zung for therapy if you need that. It's a partnership that I have with BetterHelp to get you the additional support that you need. We do receive commissions. It doesn't cost you anymore. We just have a partnership with them so that you can get the help and support that you need. We only recommend services that we trust. So I'm going to start off by just saying that the word narcissist, maybe a lot of you know this, but some of you may not. It actually comes from this Greek mythological figure named Narcissus, who looked at himself in this reflecting pool so many times, and he ended up like falling in and dying. And he was like, he would always be looking at himself because he thought he was so beautiful. So I'm seeing Laura here. I'm seeing Craig here. I'm seeing Lisa here. And all kinds of people. Karen says, I just discovered you. She's in Honolulu. Hi from Las Vegas. Awesome. You know, when I do my webinars, I get people from all over the world, literally all over the world. And so narcissism knows no bounds. And the basic thing about narcissists, yes, they appear to think very highly of themselves, and they can sometimes be very boastful, depending on the type of narcissist you're dealing with. If you're dealing with a covert narcissist, you won't see that as often. But the main thing is that they have no ability to care for others. They have a complete lack of empathy. Something got broken inside of them years and years ago. Back when they were children, there was some kind of trauma that happened to them that caused their wiring to be faulty. And they literally have no inner sense of value, and they try to derive all of their value from the external. I see someone from Chicago. Hi from Chicago. Awesome. And I'm seeing Eva saying, thank you, Queen. Love it. I love you guys. And so they have to derive all of their value from the external, and we call that supply. So when we refer to narcissistic supply, we're referring to these narcissists trying to grasp onto whatever they can in order to get that narcissistic supply. I recently had a conversation with Dr. Ramani, which many of you know that she and I have done a lot of collaborating together. And she said they're like rats in a maze. They're really just after one thing, just that cheese. And that's that external sense of feeling of value. And it's like feeding a black hole. And so once they attach themselves to you as their supply, they're literally like leeches. They literally suck the blood out of you because they're trying to suck value for themselves from you. And they often attach themselves to people who are empaths because they know that empaths will feel a lot and care a lot and be very sensitive to their needs. And so you find yourself giving and not receiving anything in return. And so you just are left feeling completely drained from all life itself. So I'm seeing someone from New York, Amber from Maui, Hawaii. I'm seeing all kinds of people. Someone from Miram from Arizona. This is so cool. This is my first YouTube live, and it's really cool to get to actually talk to all of you and see you here. So just know that anything that the narcissist does has really nothing to do with you. They treat you very awfully. They're going to make it about you. They're going to make you think that you're the problem. They're going to project it all onto you like it's your fault. But it's all to do with them and their need for supply. And supply can come from all sorts of places. It can come from having this big house or having a huge bank account or a prestigious job or the right spouse or living in the right community. But supply most often, more so, comes from making people feel devalued, debased. They judge them. They project their problems onto them. They deflect everything they do or say. They gaslight you, they lie, they manipulate. And all of that is in an effort to protect this fragile little ego that's going on inside of them. And so it's never about you. It's always about them. And that's one of the things that, if you take nothing else from what I say to you in all of my videos, I want you to understand that that you cannot take this personally. And I know it's really hard because so often, the person that you're dealing with, that's the narcissist, is the person that you allowed into your life that you are the most vulnerable with. It's the person that you're romantically involved with, or it might be, a family member, or, it could be a boss or a business partner or something like that. But whoever it is that's in your life, they only choose targets that they can get to, that they can really figure out what your vulnerabilities are and then end up using them against you. So it ends up being extremely painful, extremely traumatic. And it is abusive. I mean, whatever form of narcissist you're dealing with, whether it's covert or malignant, or, and I have tons of videos on covert narcissists and all the different forms of narcissists and the kinds of things that they do, but they all have this inability to care for anyone else, which is, hard to figure out when you think that this person has loved you and that you've loved them, right? It's really kind of hard to take and hard to swallow that. So I just wanted to say hi to more of you people. This is so great. I'm loving seeing all of you here. As I said, this is my first YouTube live, so this is really cool for me to actually get to interact with you and be able to have you reach me and me reach you a little bit further. I love it. So I have somebody here from Montreal. So remember that narcissists have 3 different phases to their relationships, which is love bombing, devaluing, and discarding. And I'm actually this week doing a whole series on those 3 phases. So I just did a video which came out yesterday on love bombing. Tomorrow I will be releasing the video on devaluing, and Friday the video on discarding will come out. And they vacillate between the 3 phases. And, so they can be devaluing you and then go back to love bombing you, or even into the discard phase and be love bombing you. And sometimes that's called hoovering, but they can be vacillating back and forth between these 3 phases all the time, because they use all 3 phases as a form of control. They are looking for ways to control you. So sometimes if they've devalued you too much and they realize, oh, maybe I don't want to be in a relationship with this person anymore. Maybe I don't want to give this person the supply that I've been giving them. You don't use the word supply, but in their words, that's how they think of it. Then they start to love bomb you again. Oh, I'm so sorry. Certain narcissists will say sorry, more of the covert ones. But whatever form you're dealing with, they'll go back to love bombing you in whatever way they did in order to get you to move off of that ledge, get you to move off of that position. Come on back, start giving me the supply again. And they use love bombing as a way to get that supply coming their way once again. And so they might promise you something. They might say, oh, I'll never do that again, or whatever, or of course I'll start doing this thing that you want them to do, that you think is really important to you. And they'll give you a lot of lip service. Their lips will move, and they're really, really good at manipulating. I always say they're master manipulators. And then right back to devaluing again. So it's love bomb, devalue, love bomb, devalue, and it's an extremely toxic way to be, because your brain is actually left attached to them. It's a form of trauma bonding, because they go back and forth between these phases. When they're love bombing you and devaluing you, your dopamine levels end up actually being released in your brain. And so your brain is left craving that dopamine release again, and you become trauma bonded to the narcissist. But just understand that that is not true love at all. I mean, you cannot experience true love with someone who is incapable of loving. So I just want to pop over and see a couple of you guys that are here. I see Louise from Australia. Shout out to you down under. Love it. I have a lot of you guys who tune in for from Australia for me, and I love it. And several of you have bought my program in both Australia and in New Zealand, which is pretty cool. So when you are negotiating with a narcissist, one of the things that you should always remember is in any negotiation is that all people want to feel seen, heard, and know that they matter. We all do. We all have, being a narcissist is really sort of like on the end of a continuum of being a human. We all want to feel seen, heard, and know that we matter. The difference is when you're on the narcissism end of the continuum, you cannot see, feel, or have any feelings for other people. You only care about yourself. So we all want to feel validated in some way, and that's what's going on in a negotiation. So the key to negotiating with a narcissist, and this is what I teach in my programs and in my webinars, is how to actually motivate the narcissist into wanting to have a conversation with you. And that key is going to be in your strategy and in your leverage and in looking at the various forms of supply and figuring out which supply is going to mean more to them to keep than the supply that they get from jerking you around. Because they get supply from jerking you around. So when they constantly move the goalpost and you've got letters going back and forth trying to settle your case, and all of a sudden the deal has changed and you think, why did that happen? Well, because they get supply from jerking you around. So creating a strategy and creating leverage that boxes them in is absolutely essential. So for those of you who are out there right now working with a narcissist and trying to resolve a divorce or any kind of a legal matter, and you're trying a collaborative process, you're actually playing into the fact that they are now getting an opportunity to jerk you around more. You're giving them more opportunity to get supply. And remember, that supply is what feeds their ego. It's the oxygen source that they need in order to breathe. It's their breath, basically. And so the only way that you can deal with narcissists is by having a super strong strategy and leverage. And then you want to get the hell out of there. What advice would you give people to just start like today? Like, I'm just so feeling like crap today. I'm totally being pummeled by that narcissist in my life. And I don't even want to even think about eating, or the only thing I want to think about eating is crap, or exercise just seems like such a luxury. What do we do? How do we start?
Yeah, so I have what I call the 5-minute commitment, and that is just committing to 5 minutes for movement, whether it be at the gym, in a workout area in your house, putting on a YouTube video, whatever that looks like, whatever feels good to you to do, because you want it to be fun and playful. So you just commit to 5 minutes. And if after that 5 minutes you still don't feel like doing the workout, being at the gym, you just give yourself permission to leave. But most of the time, and I think you guys can all agree, the hardest part's getting there or starting. So once you start doing that, once you get there, you're more likely, nearly 100% of the time, to actually stay there and like, oh, I just needed to get moving. I just needed to like get changed. I just needed to put these like beats in my ears. And suddenly you've worked out and it's one of the best workouts you've had of the week.
Yeah, I mean, I have found, like, even for myself, hey, it's COVID. So a lot of times you're just home by yourself or whatever, or maybe it's just you and your kids or whatever. Put on like some kind of dance music. Just say, Alexa, put on dance music. I better not say that too loud or it's going to happen. downstairs.
Put on beaver. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was something fun. And then you just like dance a little bit and who cares? No one's going to see you. And it just gets like the blood flowing and the juices flowing. And you just feel better. Like, cause you just had like 5 minutes of fun. Right. And if you've got little kids or whatever, just have them join in the dance party too.
My kids love doing that. We set up circuits. So like one of us will have weights, one has a band, and then the other has like boxing gloves. So of course my son loves to just, goes for, I'm like, full song, you got to go for a full song. And he's like, oh, by the end, like these are heavy.
Yeah, but it's like fun, right? Okay, so somebody has a question. Lynn has a question. What about timing in the day, like early in the day versus the afternoons? What do you think about that?
Sure. I mean, obviously there are better times of day to work out based on hormones and metabolism and things like that. But here's the thing, the best time of day to work out is the one that's going to get done. So if you know, based on what you've observed in your patterns and the way that you operate, end of the day, I tend to be very tired and I just want to relax, or the kids are home or dinner needs to be made, there's a lot of things going on, then chances are that's probably not a good time for you to work out, or even after dinner, maybe you're having trouble unwinding. So knowing that you're going to support yourself in getting in a workout that feels really good, the best time might be the morning. So I would say the best time that supports you based on the time you're most likely to do it is going to benefit you the most.
Yeah. And it might even be like in between things, like, especially if you're working from home or whatever, like, maybe you just kind of put a timer on your phone and you go, after an hour, I'm going to get up, I'm going to go get some water. I'm going to go like, and then just like dance for a little bit or walk your dog or, even
you can do time blocking. That definitely helps, especially where there's more gray area with us working from home. That's actually been a really tough adjustment mentally and emotionally for a lot of people, because the feelings they've already had and things that they were kind of sitting with, they were able to busy themselves and go places and do things. And now it's just sort of, amplifying the things that are already there, such as, I find myself in my pantry 10 times a day and I'm not even hungry, or I have no boundaries because I don't have a home office, and everything's just sort of blurring together. So doing the time blocking may really support a schedule and routine, again, that just energetically lets you shift into different modes. So that's a great point, Rebecca.
Yeah. Okay. And so how about food? Like, what would you suggest about eating?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are like, I don't have money to buy like everything organic or whatever. Like, what would you suggest about that?
Yeah, so I teach a lot based on the principles of intuitive eating. And so the cool thing is that I teach you to listen to yourself and identify what is self, what is that voice. So for example, it would look like if you're in the pantry or if you're in the refrigerator, just having a pattern interrupt. And so that looks like step one of, do I want food right now? Am I hungry? And the answer may be yes, it may be no. But if the answer is yes, then you get to honor that. So that's step one, just having a pattern interrupt. Then it becomes, what do I want to have? So in that moment, it's like, okay, am I just trying to eat something out of convenience here that might be a little bit more carb heavy, that's not super nutrient dense? Or do I have a little extra time here that I can support myself, knowing that I'm going to feel better after I eat a salad energetically with some protein and healthy fats on there? So really, again, being intentional and tapping in and asking self, what is it in this moment that would support me and what feels good?
And what about like having, and that's great advice, by the way, and it's like so much easier than like, okay, you have to go out and buy all this like certain diet food or whatever, right? Yeah. But what about like for like a grab and go or like an easy sort of a thing? Like, because to me, like sometimes I think, I should eat a salad, but I don't feel like making, like, it's just like a lot of work, right? So what would be good?
Well, I love this because it's really a simple pre-frame. Like it's just an adjustment here. So I actually had a client time for me. She goes, Uber Eats is just more convenient. I said, okay, well, let's time it from the moment you sit down with your husband and decide on what you're going to eat and get it to your door versus having food already in your refrigerator that you can grab and go and just cook. What's shorter? Turns out cooking was shorter, and so it was actually more convenient. But we have this idea that ordering food because we're not making it is more convenient. So choose which convenient you want to anchor into. The other thing is really just, again, adjusting the framework around what is a fast food. fast food is typically a drive-through, or maybe you think of McDonald's, maybe you think of Starbucks, or something that you grab at a gas station, like a donut or a hot dog or something. But if you look around, I challenge you to actually look at the other fast foods, because most gas stations have bananas and apples and hard-boiled eggs. So it's really just, oh wait, this is equally as fast, but I'm actually choosing this other societally labeled like fast food, right? So it's just a simple pre-frame.
Totally. I love that. I love that. And it is true. I mean, there are times that you go into the gas station or whatever, there's a whole stack of bananas there, right? I mean, it's definitely.
They're always right there. And you're like,
yeah,
I'm going to go get this instead.
But like the nachos are right there.
Yeah.
I'm loving that Michael is saying, fight off procrastination. The right time is now. I love that. And I want to acknowledge Nikki, who also said that she attended my 2-hour as well. It was awesome. How awesome is that?
They're just soaking all the goodness.
You are the best. Okay, so Lynn is asking about some good protein choices. What would you say about that?
Yeah, I mean, again, if you enjoy certain proteins and it's easy for you to cook, then go for those. I am, again, like in the vein of like, if you're going to eat it and you enjoy it, you're more likely to continue that. And if you're likely to continue that, you create consistency, sustainability, and you keep doing it because it feels good and it's easy, because I want to set you up for success. So the protein that you get to eat is the ones that you like, and you get to be creative with it. So again, ones that I love are salmon. I just love to bake that in the oven, wrapped in some foil. You can put it over a bed of just, julienne carrots. You can also do some baked chicken, or do crock pot chicken or instant pot, whatever is, again, I'm not fancy in the kitchen. I'm just like soup, whatever's easy. But those are my go-tos, and I love having tacos. So I will do like an organic ground beef with tacos and whip it up with like avocado and all of the yummy goodness, black beans, and put it in a nice whole wheat wrap.
I love that. That sounds so good. Okay, so somebody is asking, what do you think of keto diets?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on the person. Do certain diets work? Yeah, until they don't, right? So it's the key is, and the reason why we want to perhaps steer away from a specific diet is if we can't see ourselves doing it forever, literally, it's probably going to be temporary then. And if it's going to be temporary, what do you think will happen after you're done with that diet? You will either seek another one, or there will be this kind of roller coaster effect where you're either on or off. So for that reason, I really don't advise clients to go into any diet unless, of course, there is, I have to say, the doctor's orders or some other medical disclaimer around like something specific that you are trying to work through with medical support. But yeah, diets don't work because they work until they don't.
Yeah, it's so hard to stay on them.
Right. And that's the point. Yeah. So if you can create a sustainable lifestyle and maybe take some things, if you like keto and you feel good doing this or you feel good doing that, and just kind of custom build what feels good to you, you're going to keep doing it. And man, that feels so much more liberating than like the shackles of I can't have this and I can't have that, and operating from the space of just obedience.
I know. My husband always says, I need black and white. I need to know I can eat this, I can't eat that. Okay. So Urzabet, I hope I'm saying that right. Urzabet, where are you from, Urzabet? I want to know where you're from. So she says, I think it's a she, but she says, I like to cook, but sometimes I'm too depressed to cook. And that makes sense because, I know what you're dealing with, right? So she goes, I know when I cook, I make better quality food than anything I can order, and there's less rubbish. But what would you say to her?
Yeah, well, first, I just want to send you so much love and thank you for sharing that. And, we just support you in this moment that is challenging, and just hold some space for you there. But I would, if you're able to, either two things, music that makes you feel good. Really releases some feel-good hormones. So put something that feels good on and can maybe help you shift your mood. And another thing I would encourage you to do is maybe just to kind of put your hand on your heart. And I'm very spiritual, and I guide my clients.
I'm going to do it right now with you.
Yeah, we can just close our eyes and we can connect to our heart center. And I want you to actually step into
everybody who's watching right now, do it with us. Okay. Yes. I want to see that you're doing it.
Amazing. So hand on heart, you're going to close your eyes. And as you close your eyes, I want you to look down towards your heart center, because we're looking away from our thoughts of what we think we are, right? This identity, these feelings. Just look down towards your heart. And then you can anchor into the feeling of how good it feels after you know you've cooked. So if you know that experience, right, just like it feels good to go to the gym, that moment after you finish the workout, accomplishment, success, contentment, support, self-love, feel that before the experience occurs, and you're more likely to just close the gap there.
Beautiful. So beautiful. So Michael is also suggesting meal prep, like, especially for when I'm getting my little one on my days off, it works out so much better when having a toddler. So that's a great suggestion, Michael, as well. Okay, let's see if we have any other questions. Nikki's saying dance like nobody's watching.
Or if people are, that's fine too.
Yeah. Oh, Crosby's saying Rebecca is my hero. You are my hero. You guys all watching are my heroes, because the fact that you're showing up over here and you're trying to help yourself, that means that you have taken steps to better yourself, that you are taking steps to break free and create a new life for yourself. So you guys are the heroes, truly. And the fact that you're here listening to Carrie and like picking up ways to take care of yourself, acknowledge yourself for that, because that takes so much, especially when you're stuck in these relationships. So really, really awesome. All right. 8 ways to outsmart that controlling narcissist. By the way, I have a brand new book, Slay the Bully, How to Negotiate with Narcissists and Win. It is literally in pre-order right now. I have tons of free bonuses for you. Go to slaythebully.com, grab it. All right. Number 1, what's the one thing they want you to do? What's the one thing they want you to do? They want you to take their bait. Why do they want you to do that? Well, because they go fishing. Boom. Reel you in. So don't take their bait. Okay? Do not take their bait. Why do they want you to take their bait? Because then they feed their ego. They feed that need inside of them for supply. So remember, they don't feel inside like they have any value. They literally have to get all of their value from external sources. So yes, it's how they look to the world. Yes, it's ego. Yes, it's winning. Yes, it's adulation. Yes, it's all of those things. But it's also by controlling people, debasing people, degrading people, manipulating people. That's also a form of supply for them. So when you take their bait, when they throw things out there to try to trigger you, that gives them a high. It literally, they get off on that. So when they send you these long emails, these long texts, these long things, or something through their attorney, or something that they know that is going to trigger you, and you go right in with them, they've really got exactly what they want. And then now you're sucked into the mud, you're sucked into the quicksand with them. But it's even worse than that. Because not only are you giving them narcissistic supply, number 1, you're giving them what they want, but number 2, they use your emotional reaction against you. So if you are in any kind of a situation where either you are in a potential court case or negotiations of any sort, or you could be down the road ever, they will use it against you, okay? They will say, look, there's the crazy one. They sit over there, calm, cool, collected, not one bead of sweat has ever touched their brow, and you look like the crazy person, and they use your reactions against you. One of the greatest examples of this is in the mini series I Care a Lot. I did a whole video on this, where the woman who was the caregiver of these elderly people went up to the other woman, the elderly woman, and whispered in her ear while the camera was playing. She would get these elderly people to become like her wards, right? So if she was their guardian, then she would get control of their money, and she would basically take their money, right? And so she would get them in front of the judge and have them declared incompetent. She would put them into these nursing home facilities, and she would get control of their money. So when there was a hearing coming up for this woman's capacity in front of this camera, she whispered in front of the camera all sorts of things to get her upset. I'm going to do this, you're this, all sorts of things, whispering quietly. And the woman went nuts in front of the camera and looked like crazy person, insane person who basically needed a straitjacket, needed to be restrained. The other woman, the caregiver person, was like, oh my gosh, look at that. Wow. Ugh. It's terrible. This crazy old elderly person who is obviously doesn't, have her capacity. So she literally took her bait, hook, line, and sinker. And that's what happens with narcissists. So, and I did a video on that, which you can check out if you'd like, but that's what they do. And it doesn't have to be in that kind of situation. They can say, you're a deadbeat dad or a horrible mother, and you can sit there and say, what are you talking about? I just picked them up from school, I just fed them their snacks, I just took them to baseball, or whatever. Are you kidding me? I just paid child support, whatever it is. And then you're down into it and you're in the thick of it and you're in it. Don't take that bait, because you don't need to prove anything to them. They are not the judge. They are not the jury. Okay. They are not the person you need to prove anything to. So who cares what they say? Don't take their bait. That's number one. Number two, don't engage in conversation with them or in any conversations that are emotional or argumentative or any conversations about the past. This is another way to not take the bait, but really to outsmart that controlling narcissist. Because again, they're going to try to drag you into these things, but don't talk about the past, because that's something else that they're going to do. They're going to get you to talk about something that happened 20 years ago, if they can, especially if you're trying to call them onto the carpet about something that happened now. If you are going to get them to be held responsible for something today, they will definitely try to project and deflect about anything else, because they don't want to be held responsible for something that's going on now. So they're going to try to do anything they can to get that conversation off of that. So don't engage in that. Don't start getting argumentative. Don't get emotional. By the way, I have phrases for disarming narcissists, which you can download. It's totally free. Go to disarmthenarc.com. Highly recommend that you grab that. Disarmthenarc.com. Don't engage. Don't get emotional. Don't get argumentative with them. Total waste of time. You're not going to convince them of anything. They're not going to go, oh, you know what? I get it now. I see what you're saying. Oh, yes. Now, you know what? I was wrong. They're not doing that. So what are you doing? Just stop. Stop yourself. All right. Set boundaries. Stick to them. That's the next one. Set boundaries. Stick to them. You know what I say? Step one, don't run. Step two, make a U-turn. Step three, break free. Remember what's negotiable. Contracts, issues, terms. You know what's not negotiable? Your self-worth, your self-esteem. All right. So step one, don't run. That's where you're putting your boundaries into place. Step two, make a U-turn. Step three, break free. Okay. Avoid confrontation as much as possible. All right. Next one. Don't try to change them. Don't try to fix them. Don't try to change what their beliefs are. Don't try to get them to acknowledge anything you did or anything that, your accomplishments. Any kind of conversation like that is a waste of your time, your energy, your good life on this earth, your breath, all of that creative, wonderful energy that you have is just better spent doing other things on this planet. You know, you can say things to them like, I agree, that's what you think. Or you can say things to them like, that's an interesting perspective. You know, just say things like that just to keep things flowing. The next one is remember that your self-worth, who you are, has absolutely nothing to do with them. You are whole and complete, and it has absolutely a separate value from who they are. Your self-worth does not depend on what they say, what they do. And the more time that you spend giving them and thinking about what they're doing is less time that you have to create and be the highest version of yourself. So, you know, that was one of the massive, huge aha moments that I had when I was extricating myself from a narcissistic relationship. I realized that every moment that I was giving to this person, I was in victim mode. And so I needed to stop. So, you know, do what you need to do to get out of that relationship, and think about it when you have to, when you're strategizing or creating your leverage or whatever. Remember my SLAY methodology: strategy, leverage, anticipate, and focus on you. So when you're thinking about it, think about it. But any other time, you got to be in create mode. You know, give yourself the gift of being the highest, best version of yourself. Think about something else that you can pivot to that is going to keep you in creation mode. You know, is it going to be writing that book that you've always wanted to write? Is it going to be helping people? Is it going to be coaching people? Is it going to be devoting your life to something that you've always wanted to devote your life to? You know, your children, is whatever it is, you got to pivot into something else, because your self-worth, all of that has nothing to do with them. They are broken people. And so however they've been toward you in the past has nothing to do with you. Okay. The way people treat other people is a direct reflection of the way they feel about themselves, good or bad. You know, they've treated you poorly because they don't feel good about the way they feel about themselves inside. So you can't take it personally. The next one is stay positive, stay upbeat around them. Let them know that you're like Teflon, you know, just let it roll, fly off. You're like, or like a duck's back. It just, you know, rolls off of you. Because as long as they think that that's what's happening, then they'll start to be disinterested, because you're not taking the bait anymore. You are calm, you're not emotional, you're happy, you're not interested in giving them supply anymore. And the less and less all of that is interacting, then they're going to be very much surprised. So step 1, don't run. Step 2, make that U-turn. Step 3, break free. So you're literally turning this around so that you're no longer backing away. You're no longer on the defensive. You're turning around, you're walking forward. You're now on the offensive. And that's how you start to stand in your power. And that's how you start to break free. So I want you to put in the comments right now, I can do this, because you can do this. You absolutely can. All right. The next one is you maintain your individuality, you maintain your independence. As you start to break free, as you start to become powerful, as you start to become confident, you will start to see yourself as separate. You will start to see yourself as something different, and you will start to see that power coming underneath you. That's when you start to see that wind coming underneath your wings. Be prepared for drama. Be prepared for manipulation, because they won't want to see that supply source coming away from them. You know, narcissists are always the worst right before they're ready to give up. It's like a toddler having a tantrum, you know? I mean, it's as that baby is being kind of conditioned, they get worse and worse and worse. So be prepared for that drama, trauma, and chaos. But you can do this, right? You put that in the comments already, right? I can do this, because you can. All right. And lastly, get that professional help that you need, right? So you will need help. You will need support. You will need a support system. Make sure you join my free private Facebook group, Narcissist Negotiators with Rebecca Zung. Join that. You will need help. You will need support. You will need a support system. You get professional therapy. If you don't have access to it, we do have a partnership with BetterHelp. You can go to betterhelp.com/Rebecca Zung and get that online support therapy if you need access to that. We receive commissions. It doesn't cost you any extra. We just want you to have the help and support that you need. Make sure you subscribe to this channel as well. We want you to make sure that you have everything that you need. I'm here providing free resources for you every day as an attorney, helping you negotiate with narcissists, helping you communicate with narcissists every single day. Remember that you have a voice. You have a voice. You have a right to have a voice. You have a right to speak your truth. I want you to start feeling your power when it comes to narcissists, because the one thing that they don't want you to have is power. They don't want you to feel respected. They don't want you to feel like you are confident. And so that's what I want you to have. They feel like they've got dominion over you. I feel like it's that spider versus fly thing. You know, they catch you in that web, they start sucking all the life out of you, and you just feel drained, and you feel stuck there. How do you make a narcissist respect you? How does that happen? Well, there are a number of different ways, and I'm going to give you 10. You're going to want to watch all the way till the end here, because I'm going to give you 10, and I'm going to save the best one for the end, of course. So the first one is that you got to stay a little bit distant from them. You can't be so close that they know your weaknesses. You know, this is for people who haven't quite gotten into relationship with them yet. These are for people who are just kind of reading the room with narcissists. You've kind of started to figure out, wait a minute, there's something going on here. Maybe you've watched my other videos on love bombing, my other videos on, you know, the early relationship warnings of a narcissist, and you're starting to see the red flags. When you see this is narcissism guaranteed. That's another one of my videos. And you're going, wait a minute, no, stay the distance, stay a little bit aloof from them, because they want to grasp you. They like that chase. If they can't quite grasp you, then they respect that a little bit, right? They want that. They want the shiny thing. Remember, narcissists don't attach themselves to you because you have so little value. They attach themselves to you because you have so much. So if you stay a little bit distant from them, they think, wait a minute, this is something I can't have. So you can't be so close to them that they know your weaknesses, because then they use them against you. So that's number one. Number two is stay independent from them. If you're not financially dependent on them, you're not emotionally dependent on them, then they respect that from you. If you become dependent on them, if you become needy, then that's when they can start ghosting you. That's when they can start giving you that silent treatment. Remember, it's in that love bombing phase, that grooming phase, that conditioning phase. That's when they start to get you to need them. They start to get you to want them. You start depending on that dopamine hit And that's when they can turn around and start saying, no, I don't want you. No. And that's when you start going, no, I do. And you become dependent on them, whether it's emotionally or financially. And that's when they have that power over you, that control, that dominion. So if you stay independent from it, then they don't have that and they respect you for that. Number 3 is you continue to have something of value that they want, whether it's prestige. They attached themselves to you because of that supply source, that IV they wanted to attach themselves to, or the optics of hanging out with you, that power source, that money source, the influence source, whatever it was. So if you still have that, then, or maybe it's your looks. Remember, they are all about how they look to the world, right? So there's that too, that diamond level source of supply. The next reason why they will continue to respect you is if you're in a position of power over them. They could be a narcissist. They could be the most flaming narcissist on the whole planet, but let's say you're the judge in a case. Well, okay, they're going to have to respect you. Or maybe you're their boss, or maybe you're the CEO of the company or something like that. Then they're going to continue to respect you. Or it could be that you're the leader of the group that they all hang out in. They're going to respect you for that. Maybe you have more money than anybody else in the group. They'll probably respect you more for that. If you have more power, you have more dominion over everybody else, you've got some kind of gravitas that makes them look up to you for some reason, then they'll respect you for that. Okay, so the next reason that they will continue to respect you is that let them believe that you're not on to them yet. Once they think that you're on to them and they know that you're on to them as being a narcissist, then that mask whips off. You become public enemy number 1, and they see things in black and white. So if you're not for them, then you're against them. And, all hell can break loose at that point. And if that's where you're at, then you might want to go ahead and grab my free Crush My Negotiation prep worksheet at this point, which you can get at winmynegotiation.com. It's a free 15-page ebook, which has helped literally thousands of people win their negotiations. Highly recommend that you go grab that right now. Go get it. It will help you definitely win your negotiation. All right. So that is number 5. Number 6 is to show them that you are of high value, whatever it is, in any way, shape, or form, whether it's because you're continue to give them money, sex, prestige, whatever it is, continue to show them that you are of high value. If they feel like they're going to be lesser in some way without you being around, then they will continue to respect you. So that is number 6. Number 7 is being friends with people that they want to be friends with. So they will respect you because, remember, everything is transactional for them. Everything is surface for them. So transactional surface. So diamond level supply for coal level supply. Those are my words. Diamond levels, how they look to the world. Everything has to feed their black hole inside them. Coal level supply is devaluing you, controlling you, manipulating you. So it's got to feed one beast or the other. Number 8, making them look good. Or feel good. So you're fluffing up their ego. If you're constantly fluffing up their ego, especially in front of other people, then they want to keep you around. But you got to make it believable. If I were you, I would only do this to ethically manipulate that manipulator. So I call it fluff or favor, vomit later. Hey, can you do X, Y, and Z? You're so much better at it than I am. And it'll be done so much more fast or more efficient than if I did it, whatever that is, but you're fluffing up their ego like you're fluffing up a pillow. So if you can do that, then that'll make them respect you. But I wouldn't do it all the time. Because if you're constantly pandering to them, then they won't respect you. Okay. It's got to be believable and it's got to be done in a certain way. Because remember, you've got to set boundaries early on. You've got to keep your distance and you have to have respect for yourself. And always remember, and this is number 9, have respect for yourself and always remember to remain calm and non-emotional. Because if you get emotionally invested, if you start getting down and dirty and into it with them and you start taking their baits, then they won't respect you anymore. So that's number 9. Number 10, which I told you was one of the most important ones. This is kryptonite when it comes to narcissists. This is like the absolute thing. When I'm talking about slay, strategy, leverage, anticipating, and focus on you, this is why. This is the you. This is absolutely the most important thing. Be authoritative, be confident, be self-assured. If you stand in your power, if you know who you are from the inside out, nobody can touch you because you stand in your power. You are authoritative. You are confident. You know who you are.